There is something deeply disturbing about the final episode of House of the Dragon Season 3. Because for most of this story, Rhaenyra Targaryen has been fighting to prove that she deserves the Iron Throne. But in the finale, she stops asking. She starts believing that the realm has no right to refuse her. And that difference changes everything. Because when the news reaches King's Landing that Aegon Targaryen is alive, the war suddenly becomes something Rhaenyra has never truly faced before. Aegon is not simply a surviving enemy. He is a symbol, a man who was believed to be dead, returning from the ashes. On the back of a dragon, everyone believed was dead with him. And across Westeros, people begin whispering that perhaps the gods themselves have chosen Aegon, that his survival is a sign, that the rightful king has returned. For Rhaenyra, this is almost unbearable, because she has spent years fighting armies. She has lost children. She has lost allies. She has watched her family destroy itself. And now, after everything, the man she believed was gone has returned. But what makes this moment terrifying isn't Aegon's return. It is what his return does to Rhaenyra. Because the woman who once wanted the realm to recognize her now decides the realm must obey her. And that is where the real tragedy of Episode 8 begins. The return of the dead king. Aegon's survival is almost grotesque. For much of the season, he has been reduced to something barely resembling a king. Broken, burned, drugged, humiliated, abandoned. Even Aemon believed that he had finished him. Rhaenyra believed the threat was gone. But Aegon survives. And when he finally appears at Harrenhal on Sunfire, the balance of the war changes instantly. Because Aegon's greatest strength was never his skill with the sword. It wasn't his political intelligence. It wasn't even his dragon. It was something much simpler. He refused to die. Everyone around him kept assuming that his story was finished. And every time, Aegon survived. That makes his return far more important than simply bringing another claimant back into the story. Aegon has become the living embodiment of endurance. And suddenly, the man everyone underestimated becomes dangerous again. Even Aemon understands it. After everything between them, Aemon begs his brother for forgiveness. But Aegon doesn't simply forgive him. He makes something very clear. If they are going to continue, they will continue under Aegon's banner, not Aemon's. The crippled king who was supposed to be finished is now preparing to take back everything he lost. And perhaps that is the darkest irony of the entire season. Rhaenyra's point of no return. While Aegon survives by enduring, Rhaenyra responds by becoming more extreme. She tells Daemon that the small folk believe Aegon's survival is a divine sign. Daemon gives her an answer. Strength, dragons, armies, power, and Rhaenyra accepts it. She orders Daemon to attack Tumbleton, burn the high towers, destroy the enemy. No more hesitation, no more waiting. And this is where we begin seeing the Rhaenyra that has been hiding underneath the surface. Because there is an enormous difference between wanting power and believing that possessing power makes you right. Rhaenyra begins treating resistance itself as betrayal. Baela confronts her over Corlys. Rhaenyra doesn't listen. Instead, she turns on Baela. Mysaria is dismissed. And even Helaena, a woman who has spent most of the series avoiding the political game entirely, becomes another person Rhaenyra attempts to control. The transformation is subtle, but it is unmistakable. Rhaenyra is no longer asking, "How do I convince the realm to accept me?" She's asking, "How do I force the realm to accept me?" And that distinction is everything. The Queen and the Prophet. Then comes one of the most important scenes in the entire finale. Rhaenyra goes to the Great Septon. She doesn't simply want to sit on the throne. She wants the High Septon to publicly anoint her, to give her claim the blessing of the faith. But the High Septon refuses, because Aegon is alive. And to him, Aegon's survival is proof that the gods have chosen him. Rhaenyra doesn't accept this. She declares him a traitor, and Alan is ordered to kill him. Then Rhaenyra steps before the people, and something changes. She begins speaking about Aegon the Conqueror, the Song of Ice and Fire, the threat beyond the wall, the destiny of the Targaryen bloodline. She tells them that she can light the way. And then comes the line that should make every Game of Thrones fan uncomfortable. Rhaenyra declares herself the prince that was promised. This isn't simply a queen defending her crown anymore. This is a ruler beginning to believe that her political claim is also a divine mission. And that is exactly why the scene feels so familiar. Because the showrunner has now openly acknowledged the parallel between Rhaenyra and Daenerys. Both are dragon queens. Both believe they have a legitimate claim. Both believe they have a greater purpose. And both begin moving toward the terrifying idea that because they possess the power to save the world, they therefore possess the right to decide what the world should become. The finale is not hiding this parallel. It is deliberately showing it. And that makes Rhaenyra's speech much darker than it first appears. Helaena saw it coming, but while Rhaenyra is standing before thousands of people claiming to understand destiny, Helaena is quietly living inside it. That is the cruel irony. Helaena has always seen things the others cannot. She speaks in strange fragments. She notices patterns. She understands death before everyone else. And yet the people around her constantly interpret her as weak, as strange, as useless to the political game. But episode 8 reveals something terrifying. Helaena may have understood this entire war better than almost anyone. Rhaenyra tries to force her to eat. Helaena refuses. She talks about her insects, her bugs, the small, beautiful things that still exist outside the madness consuming the royal family. But Rhaenyra doesn't understand, because Rhaenyra is thinking about kingdoms, armies, dragons, the Iron Throne. Helaena is thinking about life. And eventually, Rhaenyra's guards force food down her throat. Rhaenyra has technically won. She has made Helaena obey. But she has accomplished something much more disturbing. She has proven that she can control Helena's body without ever controlling Helena's will. And that distinction becomes fatal. Tumbleton. Then the war arrives. And Tumbleton becomes the physical manifestation of everything the characters have been becoming. The High Towers prepare their defenses. Children are placed on the front lines. And Daemon's army approaches. But before the battle begins, something remarkable happens. Gwaine Hightower approaches Daemon, and Corlys is with him. They offer peace, not surrender, not victory, peace. Corlys even gives Daemon another way forward. Rhaenyra can remain queen. Daeron can be pardoned. The Reach can have a new arrangement. The war could stop. And for a brief moment, Daemon has a choice. He can win, or he can prevent more people from dying. Daemon chooses victory. That decision is the real beginning of the catastrophe, because Daemon has always been strong. But episode 8 asks a question he has never truly answered. Is strength the ability to destroy your enemy? Or is strength the ability to stop yourself from destroying everything? Daemon chooses the first, and Tumbleton pays the price. The dragons arrive. The winter wolves advance. The armies collide. Arrows fall. The defenses begin to collapse. And eventually, Caraxes enters the battle. Once the dragons arrive, the distinction between soldier and civilian disappears. Walls burn, buildings collapse, people run, children die. The same people the rulers claim to be fighting for become casualties of the war they never chose. And then the battle becomes even worse, because one of Rhaenyra's own dragon riders turns against her. Ulf the White, the man who was once an ordinary drunk in a tavern, now possesses one of the most terrifying weapons in the world, Silverwing. And this is where his entire story finally reaches its horrifying conclusion. Ulf was never prepared for this world. The Targaryens gave an ordinary man a dragon and expected him to behave like a weapon. But a dragon is not a sword, and Ulf is not a soldier. He is frightened, humiliated, drunk, angry, and eventually he snaps. Silverwing takes to the sky, and instead of burning the enemy, Ulf burns everyone. Black, green, soldier, civilian. It doesn't matter. Fire doesn't recognize political allegiance. And That is precisely why the scene is so important. The Targaryens keep treating dragons as instruments of political control. But dragons don't understand politics. They understand fire. And once that fire is released, the people who thought they controlled it discover they never truly did. The fall of Ormond Hightower. Inside the chaos, Ormond Hightower faces Roderick Dustin, two men who have spent the entire season preparing for this moment. And their fight is brutal. Ormond manages to cut off Roderick's arm, but Roderick keeps fighting. He manages to wound Ormond. And then Silverwing arrives. Fire consumes them both. Ormond's death is particularly fitting because the show spent so much time turning him into more than a conventional villain. He was a military commander, a religious man, a father figure to Daemon, a man who believed he was defending civilization from the Targaryen threat. But the same dragon fire he was preparing to defend against ultimately kills him. The Hightower campaign collapses, and the victory that Daemon wanted becomes something much uglier. Daemon finally sees what he created. Eventually, Daemon sees the aftermath. Bodies everywhere. Children among the dead. Mothers holding their children. Buildings burning. And the enemy isn't the only thing that has been destroyed. His own army has been devastated. His own dragon rider has betrayed him. The city he came to conquer has become a graveyard. And Corlys tells him they have to leave. This is the moment where Daemon's philosophy finally comes back to haunt him. The realm understands strength. Perhaps. But what happens when everyone has strength? What happens when everyone possesses dragons? What happens when every side believes that destruction is justified because their cause is righteous? You don't get peace. You get Tumbleton.